You're a SaaS founder, you've built something solid, but growth still feels harder than it should. Most SaaS companies don't fail because of bad tech. They fail because they've never become a must-have to the right customer. This podcast is here to change that. I'm Ton Dobbe, and this is the Remarkable SaaS Podcast. Every week I talk to founders in the trenches, facing friction, making bold moves, and building companies that last. We dig into real choices around focus, positioning, customer pool, team alignment, the things that separate forgettable software from the ones that people can't live without. No hype, no hacks. Just honest conversations to help you build something that people would miss if it was gone. If your SaaS should be indispensable but isn't yet, this is your podcast. Let's get into it. The guest on my podcast this week is Andrei Pitis, CEO and founder at Genezio.
A good product is about the things that it's not about the features that you put in, it's more about the things that you take out, that you leave out of the product. It's more like with a block of stone, you make a sculpture, you take out a lot of the stone and you are left with a sculpture that appeals to certain kinds of people.
This is Andrei. We dig into why he killed a working product with real traction and what happened when he bet everything on the market that barely existed. You'll hear what a founder who built physical products in 27 countries sees differently about software, and why he treats every product like a sculpture, not a feature list. The conversation reveals why he turned down big customer money, even when it hurt, to protect what he was actually building. Well, hi Andrei. Thank you for making the time available today and being the guest on my podcast.
Thank you, Ton, and thanks a lot for having me. Hi.
Yeah, I was looking forward to this because I get, like I said, prior to this call, I get a lot of these requests for people that want to be on the podcast, and yeah, I make choices at the end because I want it to be for a certain type of. I want to have certain type of interviews and certain type of stories to unplug, and this was definitely one where I saw a lot of potential. But because at the end it's also about something very new that a lot of companies are, have to completely rethink how they go to market, how they do marketing, and so on. But I also saw a very interesting profile of you coming from the hardware world, moving into the software world, and these type of things. So, yes, looking forward to this. Before we start to talk about your company, Genezio, what drives you? What gives you energy?
The thing that, thank you for your question. I think what gives me energy is the fact that the world is changing and we have all these models, all the, ChatGPTs, Geminis, and Perplexity, and all these models that are now becoming part of the conversation. That, the human race in the end is having, that people are having conversations with the models, and that intervenes in how the fabric of the society will change going forward. There's a new source of trust. Words are very powerful, and as a society, we've been moved, and we are moved by the power of words. The way we create convictions, the way we make decisions is because we heard something, because we spoke with somebody. And now, all of the sudden, starting very recently, there's another entity, there's a computer program, if you want, that can have a conversation that is, will be relevant in the way people make choices. And I'm very, interested in researching that, in being very close with the developments. And the way I'm approaching that is building something in the space. And what we're building is a way to help brands be part of the conversation that now is changing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, actually, I interviewed someone this morning, a CTO of a company in Denmark, and I asked also in relation to the interview that I did was how do you use generative AI these days, tools like ChatGPT and Perplexity, like you just said. And he said, well, I've completely taken Google out of my day-to-day life. I never use it anymore unless I know the page, but otherwise it's all about this these days. And it's a conversation, and people are completely different in the way they search. They're looking for, yeah, he was calling it, I want to have the recipe, not the dinner. So I'm looking for the questions to ask rather than the answers, which is an
Exactly.
interesting thing in itself. Because people try to kind of open their perspective on things.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and then of course, in relation to that, who do you work with and how, what product do you buy? And maybe you get different perspective on what what that could be. So I like that. So that was a good bridge to your company. You founded this company in 2023, I saw.
Yeah.
What was the big idea behind it? What was the problem that you saw that was, yeah, screaming for a solution?
Yeah, actually, I mean, when I founded it, it was a little bit different, and I think that in the startup world, especially in software, the good thing, compared with hardware that you just mentioned, you can pivot. So we did pivot like a year and a half ago. Initially, we started with something completely else. There were like tools for developers, in the age of AI, and then we realized that. What we're actually very passionate about was about the conversational AI that I just explained. So we're very passionate about that. So we realized that using our platform that we were building for developers back then, we could build a system where we can analyze conversations that people have with AI and help analyze how AI thinks. And that was the big idea, was to build like almost like an MRI machine to analyze how AI thinks and gives you an answer, which is not even, true for humans. I mean, nobody knows exactly just looking at an MRI, but it gives you a little bit of an insight, what areas of the brain light up when you give an answer.
Interesting. So it was first, yeah, that's what I saw. And I'm going to ask a couple of more questions on that later on, but it was a serverless developer platform.
Yeah.
It says in my notes here.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. That's how it all started, exactly. And we pivoted in February of last year, so a year ago.
yeah,
And since then, I mean, we've grown very, very, we've grown from the last 3 months, 4 months, when then we started selling products. We've grown exponentially, I don't know, 5, 10 times in a few
yeah,
months.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you hit the nerve in the market, as they say. So yeah, let's explore that a little bit. You started in 2023 with a completely different direction. Then you pivoted, and for the reason that you just said.
The, yeah.
How did you come to that point where you said, okay, we're on the wrong track? Because I mean, a lot of companies, of course, especially when you're a startup, of course, yeah, you're looking for product market fit. You're seeing traction a little bit maybe, but in order to do a pivot, and a radical one like you did, you come to a conclusion. What was that the thing that you started to spot where you say, hey, until here and no further? Let's go 180 degrees
We,
the other direction.
we've seen, I mean, I'm lucky to have quite a few members from my Vectorwatch days with me as co-founders in Genezio. And so, we've done innovation quite a few times in the past, and we can spot trends. And we saw the trend for development tools going in a direction that we were not, that our product, let's say our platform, did not really have a very good future, a very good scaling, because we did have traction, right? We had traction, we had users, but the future, I mean, like the present was decent, but the future, as we looked at it, and now you see how programming was completely transformed by tools like Lovable, and
Yeah,
that were back then in their infancy. But we saw that, and we realized that that's not where we want to go. And then we sat down and we thought, what can we do, and how can we best use our serverless platform? And we've done that in order, and that is, the backbone of our infrastructure right now. And because of that, we are a little bit ahead of our competitors in terms of, technical infrastructure, I would say, and cost in a way. But the need, I mean, we saw actually talking with the companies that were trying to serve with the other solution, and that had difficulties mainly in understanding where AI is heading. So, and what can we do with AI? And we sat and think, and a lot of people said, yeah, I mean, like people around us said, why don't you do, AI automation and, build bots and build all sort of like build automation using AI. And I realized, back then, and we realized as a team, this AI, I mean, generative AI, is not for automating boring tasks. It is meant for something completely different.
Right.
I mean, the old AI maybe it was used to automate boring tasks, but this AI is stochastic, first of all, so you cannot. It's harder to make it do boring tasks over and over again because of its stochastic nature. And the biggest adoption that we saw was the adoption of people talking with it. And we realized people are spending more and more time talking with it than they are spending on Google or on social networks. Because, I mean, you have a finite number of hours in the day. If you spend an hour talking with ChatGPT, then you have to take that hour away from somewhere else. I
Yeah.
find myself, for instance, taking that hour away from like social networks. I have a more meaningful, time talking with ChatGPT about photography, which is one of my hobbies. Then I have browsing, let's say photography forums. Or
True.
so that's an interest. So when we realized that what this will bring is a complete transformation of marketing once again. And we're old enough to have lived through to the appearing of Google, for instance, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and then of Facebook, and then of TikTok. So all of this transformed how marketing was of YouTube, right? And ChatGPT is going to, and Gemini and all these conversations are going to transform marketing once again because they capture a lot of the attention of the general public.
Exactly. Yeah. In a level of detail that no one has ever seen before.
Yeah, and getting into the economy of intention in a sense. I mean, like people have conversations with ChatGPT. They don't just search. Previously, I mean, you had conversations maybe only on, let's say, social networks where there was like a messaging component and you're talking with people.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you're talking with a chatbot at some point, but nobody wanted to talk to that. Now, everybody wants to talk with this chatbot. This
Yeah.
changes,
True.
profoundly how people will spend their attention during the day and will change profoundly the narrative of brands and of everything. I mean, you look at various brands and you see how they present themselves on, I don't know, Google or on Facebook, and then you talk about them on ChatGPT, and you find a lot of things that maybe are not true. Maybe they were posted on some Reddit. Maybe they're like very old articles that influence how AI thinks about them, and all of that. I mean, all of that is, to be honest, a big unknown. And there's a few companies that are trying to solve that unknown, and we are one of them, essentially.
Well, it requires you to be extremely curious, which is one of the traits in my book, trait number 4. Remarkable software companies master the art of curiosity. But another thing that I like about it is not just asking the right questions, but also then connecting things forward in terms of what is this going to mean. And like you say, you already built an infrastructure that was there, and now you say, okay, what other purpose can this infrastructure serve that is a more valuable and more critical problem to solve. So yeah, congratulations finding that, and also then having an advantage already in the market in terms of the moat that you've built.
Well, a lot of, I mean, like, to tell you the truth, I mean, most of the companies that we speak with, we sell to. I mean, because they are very eager to understand, they're very eager to do something,
Yeah.
to be part of the conversation. They have pressure from the boards. I mean, it's even like a board level pressure for them, because even their boards, they use ChatGPT, and they ask their marketing department, what are you doing? I mean, are you doing anything to promote yourself on ChatGPT? And, there's no there's no ads on ChatGPT. They discussed about introducing ads, but still. So you have to do SEO. There's no SEO. There's this thing called GEO, and maybe we can do it, but we don't know what tools to use. And it's a pressure. I mean, they have to come up with the solution, and we are one of the solutions that they use.
Yeah, exactly. Fascinating. So in this whole ball game, if you just wind back the clock to the early days, what appears to be an early decision that is really now giving you that advantage?
Um, it's the fact that we've started with conversations as the basis of our analysis. I mean, even with user persona. So we define a persona that is has an intention, is looking for something, and they have a conversation with ChatGPT. Whereas most of our competitors, they've made which is, I mean, it's very valid, and I'm not saying, I mean, they're doing great, like a lateral step from SEO, and they're looking for search terms, right? Which is not bad. It's just a less comprehensive view on how conversations are going, because we have long conversations. People now don't just type a text, they search for it, and then they take that, because that is actually the beginning of a conversation. Usually ChatGPT asks you, so what are you interested in more, right? I mean, people don't just look for credit card, and they ask, what is the best credit card? Maybe I want a special color credit. I want a credit card that comes in different colors or something like that, right? And then there's a conversation. It's not just a result, because it's not an article. It's a paragraph or 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs that is the beginning of a conversation. And we are focusing on conversations. So we have been focusing on conversations from the beginning. It made it harder for us to go to market, because it was easier for companies to buy tools that look like SEO. So they just, they're SEO for AI. But AI is not Google.
True. Exactly.
It's discussions.
Let me make a small interruption here. Andrei just made an important remark that sets his approach apart from every other company in the AI optimization space. While most companies treat AI visibility as the next version of search engine optimization, plugging in search terms and hoping for rankings, Andrei realized something different. People don't search on ChatGPT, they have conversations. That distinction shaped everything his company builds and creates an advantage competitors still haven't matched. And this is what remarkable software companies do. They acknowledge they cannot please everyone. Then they master the art of curiosity. And lastly, they aim to be different, not just better. Want to master these traits as well? Simply read my book. I've made the electronic version available for free. Just visit theremarkableeffect.com to grab your copy, and inspiration will spark within 10 minutes. Back to the interview.
And now companies that are more sophisticated, or agencies that are more sophisticated use our solution, because it allows them to go more in depth to understand why the AI recommends this product instead of this product. Rather than, so you go down the path of the conversation till it recommends something. Usually it recommends 2 alternatives. And if, the brand that you're working for as an agency is there as one of the products, you have to make sure that that product is recommended well based on, the criteria that make up the product, to be honest, essentially, and to be very good, very well represented.
Exactly. You highlight a very important point in software development, which is, the positioning and differentiation at the end, and why differentiation matters to some people and some people not. It's like the approach you've taken. Like you say, there's many tools on the market that allow you to solve a particular problem. You took the conversation route, the others took the search engine optimization angle. Nothing wrong with that. For a lot of people, it will be good enough. And for other people and for other companies in different contexts, it is going to be half the solution. And in five months' time, they end up with the same problem again.
Many companies are going to buy both. It's in my opinion. I mean, this is not a competitive. It's a competitive market. It's not a market based on competition. It's a more of an market based on
Yeah.
addition. We think that we may not be the only tool. Maybe the agency or the brand uses some other tool or maybe some
Sure.
other tools. In the end, we're gonna develop going further and hope to be the only solution. But to be honest, I think that I've worked in a testing company way way back when networking was still so. It was a company in Calabasas, California, that was making networking test equipment, and we were selling networking test equipment to a lot of big companies like I don't know, Cisco and all the Ciscos of the world. And all of them bought from all the vendors that were that were selling testing equipment, not just from one of them, and tested. No,
Yeah.
all of them. So usually, especially something new, sophisticated companies buy solutions from many different vendors and use them all in order to stay competitive. Because
Yeah. That's for certain use cases, right?
yeah. So for this use case where you are uncovering how AI thinks and how it talks about you, I think that we are one of the best solution. We're definitely not the only one, and we think that we might be used in conjunction with others.
Yeah. Fine. That's good. That's what creates market as well. I mean, who could have thought 3 years ago, even 2 years ago, that this would be a market in its own right? What has interested me, we haven't even touched upon that, but you've been founding a number of companies in the past, and one of the companies that you started in 2013 was VectorWatch.
Yeah.
It was actually hardware, and it was a product for consumers. What have you learned? 'Cause I mean, you sold this company to Fitbit. What have you learned from that era that you're now taking advantage of in what you're doing with Genezio?
That was an amazing journey, and one of the biggest thing that I learned was how to build a global company. We were headquartered in London. We had offices in Bucharest, in Shenzhen, in New York. We had a representative. So it was a global company selling in 27 different countries, a hardware product. So I've learned, in that journey, I've learned almost anything that's to be learned for a company. I mean, that was a lot. I mean, like that itself may be at some point the subject of a book, how to build a watch from nothing to product on the shelf in 27 countries.
Yeah.
And I think I owe it to all the people that have been in the team, and it was a really international team. And I think this was part of the success. And also the fact that what I learned is that a good product is about the things that is not about the features that you put in, is more about the things that you take out, that you leave out of the
Exactly.
product. It's more like with a block of stone, you make a sculpture, you take out a lot of the stone, and you are left with a sculpture that appeals to certain kinds of people, right? And Vector Watch was a beautiful watch, was a round watch, was launched in Basel in Switzerland at the same time as the Apple Watch. Got a lot of press that it looks better than the Apple Watch because it was round, and Swiss watchmakers, they love round watches, and it had a black and white screen, right? At the time there were not a lot of smartwatches, but Apple of course was promising color screen, and there were some others with color screens, and a lot of people said, "Oh, why don't you have a color screen?" And I was like, because it's not really about the screen. I mean, it's not about the colors. A watch is
Uh-huh.
not really about the colors. Even if you have an Apple Watch, usually people make like a two colors scheme. I mean, like very few people really wear it color.
Okay.
And what was about having a 30-day battery life and being able to wear it day after day after day without having to
Exactly.
charge it, and making it part of your day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a couple of valuable lessons that every company can learn from, even if it is from the hardware world. It's in this case trade number one in my book. Remarkable companies, tech companies, acknowledge they cannot please everyone, which is a clear example of that. And like you say, the differentiation was not in the colors, but it was in the life of the battery, which is 30 days for a smartwatch is unbelievable.
Yeah, was unmatched at the time. And of course, I also learned, design, manufacturing, supply chain,
Yeah,
logistics,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
distribution chain, international distribution, international logistics,
Yeah,
international law, international tax. So learned a lot of
exactly.
things.
Oh yeah, we can have a whole podcast on that. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
actually wrote a long form essay on internationalization, expansion, and the typical challenges that a lot of people think that yeah they will not have but do have. What was the? I mean, 'cause you built that company for global in the first place, but this one as well. What are the things that for you have been the hardest when it comes to internationalization? Is that the product or is it something else?
Um, I think it's easier to build an international company if you start from the US. And my experience is mostly US bound. And
Hmm.
chose to live in Romania, but a lot of my professional life was having startups that were on the American market or like working with American companies that bought my startups. And I think that it's easier to start from the US because you have a big market. So then you can make an international product. I think that in Europe, most entrepreneurs build a local product because they're closer to the local market and they understand it better. And usually I tell them, so, even with Genezio, so we built it to be international and we now sell in many different countries because we started with this. We did not really start to sell just locally because like every country is unique. And if you build for the local market, you're gonna solve some problems. Of course, some of the problems are universal, but the go-to market is unique to every country.
Yeah,
And if you don't plan it from the beginning to sell globally, and the easiest way is to start in a different country rather than start in your own country if you are from Europe.
yeah,
Otherwise, it's difficult. I mean, it's tough. Once you master your country, you build a set of skills, even like sales or marketing skills, that will not help you go in another country.
true.
So you have to start with an international mindset and hire international sales people or marketing people that come with an international. And
Yeah,
markets are different, are very different.
exactly. Yeah, that's true. It's the yeah how people decide where they are on their journey. Yeah, what applies, what not applies. I mean, you already talked law. You talked about language. There's so many different things.
In Europe is language mostly. I mean,
Yeah.
we did build Genezio from the get-go to work in all of the languages and simulate conversations from each and every country, because
Hmm.
some of our competitors, they do that from a central location. We do have like simulated conversations that are local to the country. Sometimes ChatGPT looks at where are you starting the conversation from. So we have. A big network of computers that are of endpoints that are talking with ChatGPT from different countries. So if you want one in Slovakia, then can have in Slovakia. If you want conversations in Hungary, you have them from Hungary, and
Fascinating.
we have customers in some of these countries. And from the UK, for instance, you have conversations from the UK. There's no like central location that and this is important. And this is how you build. This is like the architecture of your company. Sometimes you have to architect if you want to sell in Europe. You have to architect it in a way that it's relevant to each of these countries, and you
Exactly.
have to understand the local culture and to understand how to sell in all of these countries, but also to have a product that is relevant in these countries.
Is it possible to add these things on later on? I mean, because a lot of companies, of course, say, okay, well, let's start small first.
Sure,
Let's focus here, and then we start to expand. But certain
sure,
things that
sure.
is that you yeah, at some point it's like you've built it such a way that in order to do it in a different way, you have to always start from scratch.
Sure, and I don't think, I mean, like for instance, if there's companies who start in Europe in a certain country, they should try to sell to bigger enterprises that have a company in each country. Because if you sell to a big enterprise that has branches in other countries, then they can recommend you to the other branches. So start with that, and that will help sell in other countries.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, at the end, yeah, you need to have, of course, one of the things that doesn't travel is trust. But if you do it in that way, then the trust comes from their own divisions. Exactly.
Yeah, trust has to be one step. I mean, you have to build trust to make a step and then make another step and then make
Yeah.
another step. And
Yeah.
it's very hard to build, but in order to build trust, you have to say what you're gonna do. It has to be bold, and then you have to do what you said. But if you do that for a customer, then you win their trust immediately. I mean, if you're gonna promise them, look, I'm going to make you be more visible in conversations on AI in, I don't know, 3 months or 6 months, and you give them a platform and you help them through that journey, and they do that, they reach that point, then that's it. I mean, it's you have to that also, there's a lot of risk, personal risk, right? I mean, reputational risk when you
Yeah.
say some of that, and sometimes you don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, we don't know how AI is gonna look 6 months from now. I mean, what we know is we can trust ourselves that we'll be there and we'll be, there every step of the way, every day,
Yeah.
updating our solutions so that our customers get the value that they want from us, right? But we
Yeah.
cannot know for sure. I mean, like 6 months from now, it can be, I don't know, something completely different than what is today. I mean, I don't know exactly what we're gonna do in those 6 months, but I know that we're gonna do every day everything that is in our power to be always on top of the developments and update the platform so we deliver value to the customers.
Yeah. And it starts again with the basic decisions you make for the company. Who are we going to solve this for and who not? That's a very important thing. And then what is the problem that we're solving for them and in what way? And only then you can be specific about outcomes that you can promise. And I like
Yes.
the point that you say it's be bold about it, because at the end the boldness is also in not that you're overstretching things, but it's about that you can deliver something that others cannot easily do because you built it in a certain way. And it doesn't have to be bold in terms of, you know, that you're bragging or something like that, but it needs to be something that people desire and want to have. Because at the end they
Yes.
have something right now, and for them to jump to something else is always a big step. And this is innovation country, so it's
It-
so
yeah.
we talked about it earlier on, just before the call, but you said it's about having a point of view. What is the point of view that you have on the market? You know, this the something that you stand for that others might not stand for.
What we stand for is that you need to look at conversations in order to understand how AI thinks. And you shouldn't treat AI like a search engine. That's something that we really stand for. And another thing that we stand for is that it's very important. I mean, like, of course, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, but the earlier our customers, our companies embarking on this journey, the better they will be in the future. Because some of them say, yeah, the tools are not there yet. I mean, like, it's not very clear what to do. So then we're gonna wait to see how others are doing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we understand them, but we think it's not a good approach. I mean, you have to be there. It doesn't matter that not everybody has all the answers. I think that we're gonna come with the answers as the things evolve, because AI is
yeah,
the fastest growing technology that I've ever seen. And it was the
yeah,
same with wearables when I started. I mean, wearables was at the beginning, we launched at the beginning, and when we started, I mean, I said, I'm gonna build a watch that's gonna sell and that's gonna, look good and have a 30-day battery life. And I frankly, I had no idea how to do that when I started it. I mean, like, I knew bits and pieces, right? But
yeah,
if I wouldn't have had this vision and be able to gather around me the people that actually made that happen, it wouldn't have happened. So you have to be bold at the beginning when you see a change in the future, to
mhm,
assemble a team that's strong enough and smart enough to really build the best product. And this is what we're doing at Genezio as well. And I said I have a few people from the past from VectorWatch and a few new people that are very good. And I think I have the best team, and I think that this energizes me every day that I go to the office uh,
Yeah.
to meet with
What
them.
do you look for when you hire those people?
So I look for curiosity. Curiosity is now, I think,
There you go.
the biggest point, and I know that you're also big on that, and I fully agree. I
Yeah.
also look for critical thinking for people who are
Yeah.
not, don't take things that they are presented to them.
Yeah.
And I look for grit, or for resilience, for people who want to build agencies. Some people may call it people who think that they can build something that was not built before, because we're building something that other companies are building, but was not built before. We're not building, I don't know, a CRM or an ERP or something that was built before, and we are building it better. We are building
Yeah.
something new, and we don't know. We are finding out the rules of the game as we go along, and we are running and running and running, and building the best tool that we are capable of, and that's very fun to do.
Yeah, it is exactly. So talking about that move there, you because the wearable history and building something that you say that people will love, and that was for B2C, so it's consumers. Now you build for B2B. What are the rules of B2C help you now in that B2B game?
I understand the brand, and I understand the conversations about brand, and I learned a lot about people when in that B2C journey, and I also learned that wearables may be in the end B2C, but they're actually, as a business, they're B2B, because you sell to retailers who sell to
Yeah, yeah,
people, and the
yeah,
retailers actually do the marketing, and you pay them for that marketing. So it's a B2B2C, but you have to understand the C. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to build a product for the C, right? With the Genezio, we sell to two types of companies. So we sell through agencies, but these agencies, they work either for B2C companies that we understand, because with B2C companies, everybody is looking to buy something, right? So the volumes are very big. Like, everybody's looking to, I don't know, get a bicycle, I guess. So I'm like, there's a lot of people, right? But we also sell to the B2B companies that where visibility in AI discussions is less important. It's more important how they compare against their competitors, and how their products, B2B products, are comparable against competitors. Yeah, but punctually, what you asked me, the B2C experience, and let's say the marketing experience that I've developed at VectorWatch, and then at Fitbit, where I was in charge of their e-commerce at some point globally. I understand branding, I understand the marketing, and we now sell to the marketing industry, to the marketing departments,
mhm,
and we know, what the marketing departments need, and what they want to see, and what they need in order to make informed decisions, and increase the presence of their brand in the conversations.
yeah, yeah. You touched upon another big one because the marketing automation space is incredibly big. I mean, I've seen, I think, when I did a business repositioning project for also a MarTech company 3 years ago, and I think at that point in time there was a slide that there were 8,000 different, yeah, B2B marketing products, software products, SaaS products. I think it has doubled by now. Yeah,
And it's gonna triple with AI. I mean, like,
exactly. So it just become easier. What do you do to stand out? How do you, or that's
there's not so many in this space. I mean, there's not so many. I mean, a lot of tools, like you say, are trying to automate marketing. The
yeah,
marketing automation. What we do is more like, we analyze the conversation. So we are like like you said, like SEO for generative AI, like GEO, but a step further. So we're not looking just at search terms. We are looking
yeah,
at entire conversations. And in this space, there are companies emerging. There are a couple of bigger players. who got very good investment rounds, and in the huge market. I mean, like, I don't know,
Exactly.
maybe, maybe there's like, I don't know, three, 10, I don't know, 20 maybe companies. It's like in the old Vector Watch days. I mean, we were like maybe 10, 20 smartwatches around the world that were like really independent startups, right? Because then there were
Yeah.
the smartwatches of the big guys. But we were like 10 or 20 and we somehow knew each other. And it was essentially every market segment, it's a small courtyard. I mean, like I kind of joke about it. So in the watch
True.
space, we knew each other even with, presidents of big watch companies, for instance, because there are not a lot of watch companies. And in the generative AI conversation space, also there's a handful of companies that are selling and looking
Yeah.
forward to get to meet them. I haven't so far, but I'm pretty sure that we're gonna meet at some conference somewhere,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
we'll be a bunch of competitors, but competing on a very large market, on a huge
Yeah.
market. We may not even get to sell to the same account, or even if we do, I mean, we may be able to sell
Yeah. Like you say,
sell
double.
more than one. I mean, more than one company. So, and
Exactly.
yeah, and I respect and I value my competitors, and we're building something that we think is differentiated, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Talking about that, because you're focused on a specific segment of the market. You're focused on a particular problem that you're solving and how you solve it. But at the end, every day there are decisions to be made, and particularly in an area that is growing so fast. What do you do when there is conflicting priorities? Do you have a framework for that?
yeah. We argue, and sometimes somebody wins at some point. We do not. I mean, like the only framework we have right now is that we do have, enterprise customers, and if there's like more than one enterprise customer asking for something, then becomes a priority. Or if there's
Hmm.
something from the sales team saying, we need this feature because we're not going to be able to sell without this feature, that also becomes a priority. And then there's, the product priorities that are for, let's say, our self-serve product that you can buy from our website. So that's how we prioritize. But yeah, essentially, we have very healthy debate. We're not a lot of people. We're like, I don't know, 15 total. We're four co-founders and maybe,
Yeah,
so we debate. We meet every Monday with everybody, and we exchange ideas, we debate, and we make a decision.
exactly. Well, I mean, it starts, of course. I mean, to point on your argument of if sales says we can't sell without this, that can also be almost like a red flag. I mean, I come from the enterprise software world as well, but sometimes it's also that they're selling to the wrong type of customer. Technically, we can help this customer, but we shouldn't. It's also about really carving out where to say no.
That's correct. That's correct. And this is a filter that we do put on. I mean, I oversimplified what I said earlier, but you're correct. I mean, we are looked because we did have requests from some of our bigger customers to build things that were not aligned with our product direction and philosophy. And even though it hurt my heart to have had said no to a lot of money that could have been
We
very
did.
beneficial. We said no, and we did not take a lot of money to build some features that were not really related to our product, and that goes also towards what you put in the product. It has to make sense for that product, and not to put features or modules you know that are good for some other people but not good for others. And
I,
that's a very tough decision. That's a very tough decision. I also turned down two other big customers that are also not in our direction. We told them we cannot do things for them because we're a product company. We cannot afford to do services. We don't have enough people. But on the other hand, like many big companies, like they see AI, they see that that we're good with AI. So because of that, they tell us, do this product for us as well. Like if you're good with AI, can you implement this as well? And the answer, yes, of course we can. I mean, I have a stellar team, but we cannot, because
This is
we
exactly what I'm talking about, because these are, especially when there's big money involved, these are the tough decisions. Yeah, because
very
at the
tough.
end, you also need to have an income for the company.
Exactly. So it was hard for me to say no to them. But as a team, we agreed we want to be laser focused on our ideal customer profile and not go
But
and
have you set up front a couple of rules? Okay, if we cross those type of lines and they'll always be blurry, we say no. Are there
uh,
those type of rules, or is it more gut feel?
Uh, it. I think we all know now what we're building. I mean, like the rules are set, but they're not necessarily written somewhere. I mean, we know what is the extent of the marketing team that we are addressing. So
Yeah,
we know that, and we are thinking of. I mean, like what we're building will create some more value in the future. I mean, like down the road, there are some things that we will build that now may not be even possible to be built, but 3 months from now will be possible because the models will evolve. And we are thinking, I mean, our value prop will grow inside that, user base. But we don't want to, be building something that's not in our core product offering.
exactly. It's at the end, like how do you got differentiation? How do you sustain it? And how do you actually extend it? These are the best decisions you can make. Yeah, looking forward to see where that is going. Two last questions. From your whole history of entrepreneurial ventures, I also saw that you have been in Simple Capital for private investment. They have a whole portfolio of startups. So you also see a lot on that particular area. What is a big lesson that you've learned in the early days that you still benefit from today? Is there one that sticks out?
I think what's very important is to be able to build yourself up in such a way that you can work with very different people. I think that this was the lesson that I learned from Vectorwatch and even before. And I was involved, as an angel investor in Clever Taxi. That was the biggest taxi hailing app in Romania. Got sold to My Taxi, and even there, I mean, like, and I'm also as a co-founder and now the chairman of the board at Pentest Tools, which is a cybersecurity company that's global and sells product everywhere. Uh, it's like a cliche. I mean, like, the most important asset is the people. I do think that's really true. And I think that the more as a leader, as a startup founder, you are able to work with a variety of people, the bigger of an impact we'll have. I mean, and that was really true in the Vectorwatch days where I had to work with designers, with hardware engineers, with software engineers, with product, with commercial, with factories in China, with distributors or tax and the law in the UK, for instance. And these are all, I mean, like these are all different functions, but they're also all very different people with different, nationalities and different cultures, and being able to adapt and to communicate with people that are very different than yourself uh, allows you to put together a team that compounds the
Yeah,
value of every individual. So that's my take on it.
really nice. Yeah, exactly. Last question then, because this was, of course, one of the things that, yeah, you took back as the biggest lessons and the benefits from your own history. If you would think about the do and the don't to, yeah, to pass on to other tech entrepreneurs, what would that be? Is that different from what you just said?
Um, yeah, I mean, I can add something, I mean, be bold, I mean, and you have to trust and to build this trust in yourself that you have agency to change the world and to build a company. And even if you know that you don't know exactly what to do today, that you will get to that answer in a couple of months or 3 months. So believe in yourself so that others can believe in yourself and join you and attract as many more different people than you as you can. Because I've seen a lot of like I know students starting a company and they attract their friends from the university that are very similar to them, and this is not necessarily bad, but they will only be able to solve a very narrow kind of problem that they all have. I mean, it will be very hard for them to build something that really goes big. So and don't, I mean, like, if you cannot work with somebody, don't postpone telling them. I mean, don't postpone. I mean, tell them, look, this is not working, and it's not working for me. Because of this, and that. I mean, and you have to be very honest about it. And I know it's hard, but don't postpone it. Don't think it's gonna solve by itself, because it never is. And especially in a startup, I mean, it's a lot less about politics, and so it's a lot more about honesty and about having honest conversations. And yeah, it's a little bit more adversarial in nature, but in the end, it forms friendships and companies that can change the world. So
Exactly.
if you are honest with each other, at least till the company is like, I don't know, 50 people.
Yeah, exactly.
When management can kick in, and then in management, I mean, I will give the advice, a different advice. In management, you don't always have to tell them. I mean, you have to be mindful how you give a message to somebody. Not that you shouldn't be honest, but you should be very careful in how you deliver the message. Whereas in a startup, you can deliver the message and trust that because you're in a startup and because people are in a startup, they're gonna get it the right way, and they're gonna respond also being honest, and things will improve.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much for that advice, for sharing the wisdom, for sharing some of the secrets of your journey over the last 15 years. Where can people go to find out more about Genezio, or to say hi to you?
Yeah, on genezio.com, and they can also write me on LinkedIn or.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm more than willing to share ideas. I think that this is a problem that is still being solved, and
Exactly.
yeah, I'm looking to cooperate with as many people as possible. And yeah, thank you for the opportunity to have to be in this podcast, and good luck with your projects, and great talking to you.
That was likewise. Thank you very much. And this wraps up my conversation with Andrei Pitis, founder and CEO at Genezio. If you got value from this episode, please share it with other SaaS founders who need to hear this as well. And if you got 10 seconds, a quick rating or review on Apple Podcasts will help more people to find these conversations. Thank you for listening to the Remarkable SaaS podcast. If you want more insights like this, subscribe to my daily email, Espresso with Ton. It's a 2-minute shot of clarity for SaaS founders who want to create pull, not push. You can sign up, along with getting my book, at valueinspiration.com. See you in the next episode.